Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and today I'm here to talk about all things thread organization and storage, and bobbins too. I love having different colors of threads available in different colors, but you've got to have a way to store it. And you've also got to have a way to store it where it doesn't take up too much space. So I'm just going to talk today about some of my favorite ways to store your threads and bobbins, and give you some ideas that will hopefully help you get your thread and bobbin stash under control. We're going to start out first going over to my on-the-wall thread rack, and then I'm going to show you some of the other ways I store my threads. So I do love my on-the-wall thread storage rack for storing my threads. I think it's a beautiful piece to have for decoration in the sewing room, but it's also really functional because you can just easily see the threads. You can easily remove them to use them, and you can also easily put them back. I get a lot of questions about this rack, and I haven't been able to find the exact one lately. I purchased it probably 6 years ago, so it's been a little while, but I will link to some similar on-the-wall thread racks that you can look at. Okay, other than the threads that you just saw that I store in my on-the-wall thread rack, everything else is stored in these two bins and in these two little bobbin donuts. And I love that I have everything so accessible in just two places. I've got them labeled. This one has threads, and I also keep embroidery floss in here. And this one is all Aurifil thread. So I've got them labeled. I keep these on the shelf, and I can just pull them out when I need them. And I am going to now walk you through kind of what I have inside each of these containers. These, just real quickly before we move on to the storage containers, I absolutely love these. I call them thread donuts, but they're bobbin holders. And I keep, of my neutral colors, I always, if I start a new project, I start out with all of these full and ready to go so that I don't have to stop while I'm sewing and fill a bobbin. These colors are some of the most frequently used colors, and I keep them ready to go and just pull them out if I need a particular color. These are also great for if you're binding a quilt and you want to use one of these colors to stitch your binding. You can just take this with you and pull the thread from there that you're going to use to bind your quilt. Especially when I'm traveling, I will throw always both of these in my bag if I'm going to a retreat or if I'm teaching a class, and that way I just have a multitude of thread colors without bringing all of my thread storage. And since these are the most commonly used colors, I know it's pretty likely that I'll have something that I need if I'm traveling. This one, you'll notice these little bobbins are a little bit different, and they're pre-wound. So this is a great way to get a bunch of colors without having to buy all of the different spools of thread, just to buy a collection of pre-wound bobbins in different colors. And then I've used these for mending clothes and for different things, and it's just nice to have kind of a larger assortment than you might have in your thread stash. Okay, we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you how I organize these thread storage bins. Okay, so we've talked about the bobbins, and I will mention that also there are other specialty bobbin storage containers that you can purchase that you can store your bobbins in, and I'm sure some of them are clear plastic boxes and you can see through, and those are a great option as well. And I'll link these, and I'll also link some of the other options for you. Okay, let's start with my Aurifil thread. My favorite way to store Aurifil thread is in old Aurifil thread boxes. If you buy a collection of thread from Aurifil, it will come in a plastic box with all of the different colors. What I just found out was that you can buy these boxes empty, and I'm so excited because I've just ordered some more for me so that I can change things up just a little bit. These boxes are great, and I had no idea that you could get them without any thread in them for a cheaper price than buying a whole thread collection. So I'll link that. I found them in a couple places. And there was also one option where you could buy the box for about $7 more, I believe, and it had one spool of white thread with it. And $7 is actually a really good price for one of these spools. So that was kind of a good deal too if you wanted to buy the box with the large spool in it. I keep these organized by color. I'll show you. I have several of these boxes stacked up in here. And what I try to do is, this one has some colors. And also you'll notice the small Aurifil spools, you can fit 2 of them in one little slot that's meant for a larger spool. So I utilize that frequently. I'll put 2 of the smaller spools. This is my box of just my neutrals, and you'll notice these have a darker color. Aurifil thread uses a different color for the spool depending on the weight. So the weight I use for sewing and quilting most often is the 50 weight, and it has the orange bottom. I accidentally ordered these one time, but they are good for embroidery and for big stitch quilting, so I've kept them here. I did have a lot more, but you can see that this is a great way. That way I know if a lot of these slots are getting empty, it's time to order more thread. I never want to run out of thread. Again, this is just another box. Some of these I haven't opened yet. And again, I'm utilizing the 2 spools that fit, and you see some of them have different colors. The green is a different weight, and then these are the dark neutrals. So I keep these all in this bin. If I'm looking for a color, I can, and I haven't found it on my wall rack, I'll come get these. And a couple of these are actually backups. If I use one of those out, then I'll replace it with this. Okay, I do have some other containers in this box that I'll show you. And these work great for storing the small Aurifil spools. So you can see that the small ones fit in these containers just perfectly. And so these are a less expensive alternative. If you prefer to buy the smaller spools, this is a great way. And if I'm looking for a color, again, I can just get all the boxes out and I can look at them. These with the cork ends are a floss, so these are a little bit different too. And I just keep everything stacked up together in this bin. And so it's super, I don't have thread anywhere else but in these particular places. Now this one I do have some floss. I have a couple things just added in, floss sets. And then I have another option for you for storing the small Aurifil threads. These are actually the boxes if you buy a set of 50 or more Clover Wonder Clips. These are the boxes that those Wonder Clips come in. And I like to keep my Wonder Clips in a patchwork bag, a quilted bag. And so I always take them out of the plastic boxes and save these boxes because they are also a great way to store the small Aurifil thread. And if you're working on an embroidery project, these are embroidery with the cork, or you're even just working on something and you're going to a retreat and you just want to take a few items of thread, this is a great way to pack up your thread and take it on your trip. So again, these are just, I haven't found that you can buy these boxes by themselves, but they come with the 50 packs of Clover Wonder Clips. I also have just another tin container that I've got a lot of thread in. I showed you the other 10 containers a minute ago. These are just a great way to use. Now you'll notice this is a different brand. This is Metler. I used a lot of Metler thread when I first started quilting before I knew about Aurifil, but I keep these because I have some great colors in here, and if I'm doing a binding or working on something, or even for regular sewing if I'm mending, it's just great to have these colors, but it's also great to have them contained in an easy way. And then finally, I've got some of these Aurifil thread sets and Aurifloss thread sets, and I have just kept them in their boxes because these can be opened and looked at. You can see all of the colors once you open the lid. Now, as I mentioned before, I think I'm going to put these into these types of boxes so that I can see everything all at once, and that's why I ordered some more of these boxes. So I probably will be replacing these soon. When those boxes get here, I'll probably open all of these finishing sets and put them in those clear containers so that I can just see what I have. There are a lot of storage options where the spools are standing up, sort of like this, and I don't like those because you can't see the color. I used to have a box like that, and it was terrible because I'd open the lid, and even though it was clear plastic, I had to pull out every single spool to be able to see what I had. So I feel like all of these options are good options because you can see the colors from the box. Okay, I hope this video on thread storage and bobbin storage too was helpful for you. I feel like I used to have thread all over the place, and since I made myself contain it to these two basic bins and my wall container, I've just been a lot more happy. I can always find my thread when I need it. I will link all of the different products that I shared, and also a few others that I found when I was searching for thread storage products, and I'll have those in the description below. I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel, and thanks so much for stopping by.